Charles Manson.
All my feelings are good.
Vicious cult leader.
Beautiful, Charlie.
Master manipulator.
Why won't they let us testify?
How was he able to control the minds of seemingly innocent teenagers and compel them to kill?
It's certainly my feeling that Mr. Manson is sane.
And how can we understand his capacity for evil?
Only perfection you bring.
Charles Manson. His name is synonymous with evil. His image seems to conjure our darkest fears.
Leno and Rosemary were found, like victims of previous night, in a pool of blood. Both of them had pillowcases over their heads. What we're talking about here is a nightmarish scene of murder and brutality that I don't even think you see things like this in horror movies.
They came in the trailer and told me to turn on the news. And of course, the first story was about the Tate murders. And they laughed. And I thought there was something wrong with me, that I had not X'd myself out of the society very well because it affected me. It really scared me.
Hoyt received death threats from the cult, and they demanded she flee to Hawaii.
I always cooperated with the police, but I was very frightened to testify because of all the death threats. I didn't go to Hawaii, as some people said, just to avoid testifying. I was trying to keep them from killing my family.
Manson family member Ruth Ann Morehouse took Hoyt out of town and away from the trial.
I was scared to take the subpoena. I was very frightened to testify. I was constantly being threatened. Your family's going to die. What could be done there could be repeated at your house.
But even before meeting Manson, Catherine Scher had experienced the mind-altering power of LSD.
I had a roommate that was very avant-garde, and she introduced me to the coffee houses and flamboyant way of living, and she introduced me to LSD. From my first trip on, they gave me a whole lot. I was this little child, barefoot, running around, just giggling and picking flowers and giving them to people. They started calling me the flower child.
So you really underwent a altered state of consciousness and mindset.
I became about 10 years old, yeah.
For rather a long
time, yeah.
Before
Teenager.
Meeting Manson, or?
Yes, yeah. Every single night, we'd have dinner together. We'd have big bowls of food that we just passed around in a circle, and we'd smoke grass, and we'd sing, and his songs were full of hypnotic, leave your mind far behind you, now is where you should be, very hypnotic, for hours, for hours.
Even with their leader on death row, true believers on the outside remained fiercely loyal to Manson. Their continued devotion to a crazed murderer only fueled Manson's mystique. The hardcore believers were desperate to free their leader. Several family members were arrested while attempting to rob a gun shop. It was rumored to be the first step in a plot to hijack a plane and trade the hostages for Manson's freedom. Catherine Scher took part in the botched robbery that turned into a shootout with police, but she denies knowing about a planned hijacking.
Were you or were some of the others involved in the idea of hijacking a plane and doing something in order to free Manson?
Well, I was in a shootout with the police. That was a big deal. That I did. I was sitting in a car waiting for them to come out. I got shot in the shoulder.
Right.
And then I went to prison. It's a bad place to be put into.
Yes, indeed.
It's a bad place to be put into.
Yes, indeed.
Most people don't make it out of it.
Right.
I'm just extremely blessed to have a life like this. Most people don't make it out.